Hello, everyone out there. Today's video is about allergy symptoms in children. Now, please understand this is for your educational purposes only. I'm not diagnosing you. I don't tend to diagnose you. I don't want to diagnose you. But if you're sick and you maybe see some of these symptoms, it is really important that you see a medical professional for these things. So, without that caveat, I probably couldn't go on. So, please realize that this is for educational purposes only. And I think that there is good reason and evidence to do further research and follow up with a medical professional. So, allergy symptoms in children. Um, the good news is that as parents, we have control of this. We have. Now, the type of substance chronic storm of low grade inflammation is triggered usually by a range of factors, including medication, toxin exposure, stress, not enough sleep, how much we move around and exercise our bodies, and most importantly, to me anyway, it's the food we eat. And all my life, many of you know that I have suffered with allergies, food problems, challenges, ulcers, digestive disorders, skin rashes, and adhesion or, lesions. So this is something that I've dealt with my whole life. But not everybody has the same presenting symptoms that I did. So it's like diving down the rabbit hole or opening a can of worms, they say, because one leads to the next. So just steady yourself, center yourself, get ready for an adventure, a journey, and stay realistic with your findings. Make sure that they're well documented. We can start with the diet. Number one, nutrition, and raise the frequency of what we eat to feed our children. Food is the number one most chronic exposure that we have, that our children have. We have to eat every day, and that food is triggering, most likely, an inflammatory response. It is inhibiting the body from what we call the healing state. The body is providing a safe environment for healing, for functioning, okay? And if we take away or threaten that environment, we lose our health. It's kind of simple. Eliminating the most inflammatory foods has to be first on the list. So if you know they're allergic to peanuts, and every time there's a peanut around, they break out into a rash, there's swelling, there's inflammation, there's stomach digestive disorders, eliminate the peanuts, okay? If you have a problem with peanuts, but you keep um, being exposed to peanuts, then the situation will escalate a little bit more than just food. It's also psychological. Why do they need or keep repeating the pattern of eating peanuts? So realize that there's some core unconscious motivation going on, and maybe it's control, um, maybe it's the need to fit in. That's really common. They don't want to be different, they want to be the same or is equal to. So there's some hidden things going on in there. Um, Eliminating the most inflammatory foods is first on the list to quieten, calm down, the histamine inflammation response. So the most likely offenders are going to be gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, seed oils, sugar, and alcohol. Hopefully, your child's not having alcohol, but they could be having uh, sugar alcohols or grain alcohols in their food. It just depends on what it is you're feeding them. So look into that. Sometimes you have to go to the manufacturer's websites to do that, or call them if there is no information on their website. Then we can start with number 2 on our list, and that's stress management. If we cannot handle our stress, we cannot contain the child. Inflammation. So it will create in their body, just stress creates all kinds of inflammation. It's an unsettling, it's an acidic condition. Acid conditions create havoc in our body, everything from hives to cancer. So, sometimes I used to do the hair mineral tissue analysis, a hair test, and on clients and on children to find out how high their mineral levels were or how low. Because it'll reveal that, and that's part of the function of the human body. So if we know what that test reveals, we can use that as kind of a baseline or a borderline thing to go with. Um, we want to know if they have any excessive um, levels or any deficiency levels, is what we're actually looking at. And also, in our stress management, we want to be able to teach maybe meditation, yoga, mindfulness, breath work. There's a tremendous amount right now for children going on with breath work because it's something very simple, non toxic. It helps to distill their mind and their spirit, and the lack of oxygen alone is very harmful. So prioritize your self-care as a parent, but also the self-care as your child. And we all know about patterning, and if you can pattern for your child yoga and breathing and meditation, it does a world of good for their whole life. Okay, so establish some kind of self-care, self-love, self-nurturing routine. Saying no and creating safe boundaries is really important, and especially around things that don't serve you or your goals. You have to look at, does eating this or doing that, mowing the lawn, is that conducive to my health? Some people can do it. A lot of people with allergies cannot. Okay, so that wouldn't be serving you or your child or anything. And I'm kind of going back and forth between this because this talk is not just for parents, it's also for their children, mainly for children, so we can interrupt that um, allergic reactive inflammatory cycle when they're young. Um, if it doesn't serve your goals and you aren't getting the peace and health that you require, you are systemically not into the healing cycle, the rest cycle. But you have to learn, you have to prioritize it to eliminate inflammation and the source of the inflammation. Okay, so you're looking for irritations, anxiety producing, disturbing emotional responses as well. All right, so Remember, education. There is a link to all of this. And journaling, I would also add, is a wonderful, wonderful tool to help you realize you're not crazy, you're not mentally ill, you're not making this up in your head, especially when you write it down and you document it right away. Um, to eliminate the source of the inflammation and turn off that chronic histamine response. Okay, now here's a list of ways that children will show signs to allergies, show an allergic response or an allergic reaction. Um, and sometimes we don't realize that a tummy ache is what it is. You know, we think, oh, they just ate something bad. Yeah, they probably did. Let's get to the end of that, to the core of it. All right, so a stomach ache, ear infections, and what we used to call on the farm hay fever. Do you remember those days? Um, Putting their hands in their mouth because maybe there's something sore in there, or their tongue is swelling, the sides of their cheek is swelling. Scratching their tongues. Yeah. Um, Slurring their words. They may have voice changes. Complain that the food is too spicy and that it maybe is too hot on their tongue, or that their tongue is itchy, scratchy. Okay. They can also say that their skin is itchy, or you can even just observe them. If somebody followed me around as a child, they think I was allergic to everything because I was always scratching, scratching, scratching. Okay. Also, their chest is tight. Maybe they can't take a full belly breath. Okay. Shortness of breath. So, not deep breathing at all, but real shallow up here breathing. Okay. Sudden raised areas like hives, just like little emotional. It looks like a sting, but there's no bite. It's just a raised redness. Um, and they can be in different areas. They can be on the arms, all over the trunk of the body, the legs. I woke up this morning with one on my leg above my knee, and I'm like, what have I done now? But I'm excited for this day. I'm excited to make this video. I'm excited. I have some meetings set up today that are exciting to me. Getting excited is raising my histamine reaction. So those are things that tie into my natural autoimmune responses. Now, um, remember that little raised rednesses and welting, or little rashes of all kind, can be telltale signs. Also, we're going to look at swelling of the throat and the lips. I remember when I was little, my sister was greatly allergic to tomatoes. And they never called it that. They just said when she ate the tomato, her lips swelled. They never said it was an allergic reaction. So putting, two and two together and really doing your due diligence for your child or for yourself is calling things what they are. And some people don't like to put labels on it, but it helps you to accept it. It helps your subconscious to um, transcend it, to give you the tools, the resources, the strength, the courage, the power, the discipline to go on from it. Um, so we're going to be looking at swelling of the throat, the lips, and the tongue. Those are primarily because we're introducing food into this cavity first, okay? So also sneezing and runny noses. I know people that can't walk into a room without sneezing, and they're always, doing one of these with their noses, or one of those with their noses. Also, one that's not very common, but we see it a lot, is watery eyes. And if you're an old person with dry eye syndrome and you see a little kid with watery eyes, it can just drive you nuts. But those are some different things. Now, we're going to go into the 4 types of hypersensitivity. Okay. Type 1 is just a reaction uh, that is mediated by the IgE antibodies. It's just a reaction. It's a sneeze when you walk into a room with perfume. It's a sneeze when the room fresheners are on. Um, and there's levels with this, okay? Type 2 is a cyto chronic reaction mediated by IgG or IgM antibodies. Now these are we're climbing the ladder. We're going to get a little more severe. And type 3 is the reaction mediated by immune. Can't even read my own writing. When we touch something and then we're reacting to it. So if we're touching paint, we can have a reaction to the pigment in the paint. And so we're going to have a higher level of reaction. Okay, it's going to be more welting, maybe even blistering. I have a skin reaction to eating corn or being around something with corn, corn oil, corn um, meal, chips. Just touching them will give me that. So it's it's a severe reaction enough that it's going to really bother you. It's going to make you uncomfortable. And then type 4 is a delayed reaction that is mediated by a cellular response. Now, type 4 being delayed can be 24 hours, sometimes 2 days. So it's really important if you're looking for allergy symptoms and patterns in what they eat to track everything that goes in the mouth, every location, temperature of the room, hours of rest, what they're exposed to, and go from there. Because the more information you gather, the faster you'll come to a conclusion. Now, there are basically 3 types of responses to contact dermatitis. Um, Also, more of a follicular irritation, an acidic condition, and the granulomas type. So it's going in and it's actually making more of a blister, more of a bubble. So it's really good to track all of those things in children because they're going to lead to other things as they grow up. I spent the majority of my childhood allergic to dairy. I had my first anaphylactic shock when I was a month old. Then I grew up on a farm, so I was around the corn, I was around wheat, I was around maize, and pretty much every one of those things I'm really allergic to now because nothing was done to protect me from that environment after I started having symptoms. Nobody changed anything. Uh, I, you know, yeah. So be proactive for your child, be proactive for yourself. And it's about building self respect for who you are. We're all individuals, we're all different. We all have a different histamine reaction to everything. And histamine is a cellular reaction to something that we are not, our bodies are not comfortable with. And when you're into releasing somatic traumas and feelings in the body, that is a big step. So Um, Sometimes I still get see, I'm scratching this morning. I'm getting an allergic reaction, just a little histamine reaction from something that I've already done this morning. And, you know, who knows? I'm going to be writing down and thinking backwards. What did I do? What did I say? What did I touch? What's new? And for me today, I think it's just stress. So, because it's pretty early in the morning and I haven't even had my vitamins yet. So, with all that being said, I'm going to bid you all adieu and wish you all the best in your journey of self discovery and what causes you or your child irritation, histamine reactions, inflammation. Um, See, there was my nose. So, see how we all have our little things. And it's okay to be who you are. It's okay because the body has a way of keeping us safe, but we don't listen. And so, understanding the histamine reactions, understanding the responses that our body is teaching us, trying to communicate to us, is how we stay safe, how we stay out of trouble, how we stay in balance. All right? Now, remember, educational purposes, but if any of this brings a red flag for you or you recognize anything, please see a medical doctor that can help you. Mwah. All my love.